You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Friday review, I'm going to be going through one of my favorite things to talk about, and that is making smoothies, but also a lot more than just making smoothies. You can make some banana-based ice cream or vegan-based ice creams. You can make acai bowls. You can make soups. You can make your own flours, whether it be an oat-based flour or nut-based flour. If you have a good quality blender, it will honestly pay for itself without being able to have to always go out and buy all of those specific things. You can now make them yourself. Plus, honestly, one of the reasons why I've made some big investments in blenders is because I know that if I've made that type of investment, I know myself that I'm going to use it more often. I'm really going to try to get my money's worth from it. A lot of people feel the same exact way. Plus, when you get something like this, it honestly, even though it's just a blender, a lot of people who are into natural health and take care of themselves, they think it's fun. They think it's fun to make their own types of recipes and their own smoothies, and they're going to start to do things that are a whole lot better for their body. And so, honestly, it is well worth your investment. However, today, I'm going to take you through 4 different blenders. I'm going to take you through the Vitamix, the Blendtec, the NutriBullet, and the Ninja. And I've used all of these blenders at some point in my life. And of course, I've been able to look at demos when I'm, with the companies or expos or any of those things. And I'm not promoting any single one of these today. And hopefully you know that on my Friday review, I like to give you the information. And then wherever you feel you're at, you'll make the right decision for you. So I'm going to start with the most high-end blender there is. And this really, I actually just purchased this at the beginning of the summertime. So it's been a few months now that I've had it. It's called the Vitamix 7500 blender, and I got the white one. I really like the white one because the kitchen that I have is white. It's just like blended in. I like just clean white everything. I just think it's, it's really, really nice. My wellness center in Boston is pretty much all white. I just like the cleanliness, the purity to it. So anyway, that did sway me a little bit. However, this Vitamix, I just debated for so long because I had a Blendtec forever. Would this just be the same thing as the Blendtec? Because this is more expensive. It's another like $150 or so more. And so this comes out to be right around $500, and that's why I know it's not the right choice for everyone. But I can tell you this, I make a smoothie every morning, at least one per day. I make it for my 2 daughters as well, so we're doing that. And then typically, my wife is making them an acai bowl as well, maybe for like a mid-afternoon snack. And acai is it's a specific type of dark berry from the Amazon, really high in antioxidants. And it doesn't have to be that. You can make any type of like smoothie bowl that you want, but my girls love eating that, and it's such a great healthy snack for kids. And you can do it as an ice cream too. So we make them for smoothie pops too. Like you can make popsicles during the summertime. You can make sorbet. You can make ice cream. I mean, there's so many amazing things to do with these blenders that honestly, they are worth the investment, even if you do pay the higher price. So one thing I want to just tell you about, I'm only going to do about, let's say, 2 minutes per review, is the Vitamix. Honestly, it is head and shoulders over all of the other blenders. And I'm not saying that because I own stock in Vitamix or anything like that, because the Blendtec's amazing at what it does as well. And I'll talk about the others too, why they might be better choices for $100 or less. So this Vitamix, honestly, even though there's no heating unit, it spins at 240 miles per hour. It's over 1,500 RPMs, and it will incinerate any type of flours that you're trying to make. Reason why I like these higher powered blenders is because if you're going to put any greens in there, you don't want to be chewing your smoothie, right? You don't want to be chewing those greens. So if you decide to put kale in, or your Swiss chard or spinach or any of those things, it literally incinerates it, and you don't even see any little pieces at all. I mean, really amazing. So why would you choose the Vitamix? You would choose the Vitamix if you were someone that likes to make smoothie bowls or those acai bowls. And the reason is it has a hole in the top, and you can buy the hand tamper, which you just go on a really low speed, very little liquid, and you just push down the frozen acai packets or frozen, let's say you use mangoes, anything like that, and it will turn it into this thick sorbet ice cream. This is the one to choose if you're big on making those smoothie bowls. And also, if you want to make soups, And if you want to make any type of your own flours, this is the one to absolutely use. It's great for nut milks as well. And then you would just strain. So that's your number one first choice. And again, I had my doubts. I really did. I'm like, well, why am I paying this much more really than the Blendtec? I'm telling you, when you get this Vitamix, it honestly, it weighs like 10 pounds. I mean, maybe even more. You can feel the weight to it. There's a definite difference with this blender and this machine. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And you need to really click that on button for so much less time than the others because it just incinerates whatever you put in it. So really enjoy it, really love it, and it's all manual. So very different than a lot of the others where you press, ice cream or press smoothie or press flour. This one, it's all manual. You do it really, really low or you do it really high. It's completely up to you, and then you can pulse it as well. All right, so let's move on to the next one. And the next one specifically is the Blendtec, and it is a little different type of container. So it's called the 4-side jar, and the one I got is nice. It's beautiful. It's digital. It looks fantastic in your kitchen. It's $390 versus the $500 plus for the Vitamix. Now, keep in mind, you can get all of these for less than $100 less than the price that I'm quoting you at if you do a refurbished model. And again, these are usually guaranteed for at least 7 to 10 years, so that does make a huge difference. All right, so this Blendtec that I have and that I'm talking about right now is called the Blendtec Total Blender 4-Side Jar Black. And it's different than the lower end models, and so there is an actual difference. This one does spin at 1,500 RPMs as well, so it does really just as great a job, in my opinion, as really blending up ice and I would say incinerating all of those vegetables. But you cannot make the same type of smoothie bowls, and you cannot, because it doesn't have that, you could force a hand tamp down there, but it doesn't do the same job as the Vitamix, and also not the same exact job as making those nut flours, but it does a great job at that as well. So honestly, the Blendtec is a great choice. The only reason why you would need that bigger, more powerful Vitamix is if you just want the biggest, the best, and you're big on making smoothie bowls, because the Vitamix is just absolutely fantastic at that. And that's why when you go out to smoothie places and you go to like acai bowl places, they're typically using the Vitamix and not the Blendtec. It's more powerful. The rounded jar makes it a little easier to hand tamp around rather than the square jar, although I do love the square jar. I actually just like drinking directly from it. And the great thing, I'll tell you this makes a huge difference. Both the Vitamix and the Blendtec have a 64-ounce jar, and I highly recommend that. I know that seems enormous, but the thing is you can't fill it all the way when you're making a smoothie. So let's say you do what I do and you like to put in, well, I put in at least 16 ounces of fluid for myself. And again, if you haven't already, I give away my favorite smoothies, my top 7 wellness and weight loss smoothies. And that was on episode 270. So if you haven't checked that out yet, just go to stephencabral.com/270. You can download that free smoothie guide. It's a PDF. It is my top 7 recipes, and you'll see the one that I make every single morning. So I highly recommend doing that. Absolutely. Those are my best recipes. And I use both of these blenders for that. Now, so I use 16 ounces of fluid, sometimes more, sometimes 20, because I like to get a lot of liquid in there, so I really hydrate my body. And again, I'm not drinking this right away. I'm drinking over a period of like an hour, a little longer. And then I put in my fruit, and then I put in my all-in-one powder, the daily nutritional support that I talk about. So that to me gives me some space to be able to blend this, because that's going to make like 30 ounces of actual liquids, which is just so phenomenal. I talk about it all the time. You're going to get 4 glasses of hydration into your body before 9:30 a.m. I mean, that really is the way that you're going to have more natural energy, that you're going to have more clarity of thinking, and you're going to flush your body of all these toxins, especially the ones being eliminated all night long. So when you add in something like the daily nutritional support, which is every single over 100% RDA of what you need for all your vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, 15 grams of vegan-based protein powder, and then also, if you do what I do and you either do the daily fruit and vegetable blend with your smoothie, or you do it before as kind of like a greens drink when you wake up with some fresh squeezed lemon, all those great things, then, really, you're going to get 22 organic fruits and vegetables, your all-in-one powder, which is all your vitamins, nutrients, all those things. That is it. That's how you start your day. That is everything that you need. Even if you don't get it right for the rest of the day starting like this, I'm telling you, it's not too much better than that. All right, so let's move on to our next one. So we went over the Vitamix, we went over the Blendtec. The Blendtec, think about it like as a just right below the Vitamix. An absolutely fantastic machine that costs $100 less. And if you're not making a lot of smoothie bowls, you could absolutely opt for this one. The reason why I like this so much is it actually counts your smoothies. You get to see how many that you're making every single day, and it just keeps counting. Like ours is over 1,000. And then you can also press things like, okay, I'm making smoothies, I'm making a mixed drink and crushing ice, or all these different options. So that's pretty nice as well, and I've used that many, many times. All right, our next one up, and these are going to be just a little shorter reviews, is the NutriBullet. So the NutriBullet that I'm going to recommend, because there are quite a few, is their top-of-the-line model. It's called a 900, and the reason why I'm recommending this is because it's 900 watts of power, so it's a lot stronger than the other ones that I should say, a lot stronger in terms of its strength rather than the 700 NutriBullet that they make. I want to go back 1 second. When I talk about the 1500 for the Blendtec and the 1500 for the Vitamix, that's watts, that's not revolutions per minute. So I take that back. The RPMs for the Blendtec and the Vitamix are actually over 30,000 revolutions per minute. So really incredible. So the reason why those Blendtec and Vitamix are so much stronger than the NutriBullet and the other ones are, think about it, 1500 versus 900 watts. So it's just a lot more power in those larger machines. Now, is the NutriBullet still a great machine? It is. I think it's great. However, my issue with the NutriBullet, even this larger one that has a 32-ounce capacity, now it's a lot better. Remember, if you're going to do the NutriBullet, you have to get the one with the larger jar. If not, like the smaller ones, they typically go for 16 ounces or 24 ounces. They call it the colossal cup for the NutriBullet, is you need that to be able to pack in if you're doing some veggies in there and you're doing 1 or 2 cups of fruit and you're doing your liquid, you're just not going to have the space. So the 900 will blend things up. It's going to do a great job. You still, with this NutriBullet though, you're going to get you're going to see little pieces though of the kale or the spinach if you put any greens in there. Now obviously it's been completely blended and you're not going to have to chew it up, but it's not as fine. It's not as fine as that Blendtec or Vitamix. But keep in mind, what's the difference? Vitamix is $500, the Blendtec is $390, and the NutriBullet is $99.99. So big difference in terms of price. And if that's where you need to start, then I think that's absolutely fantastic as well. And that can be a great option. But last but not least, I'm actually going to kind of throw a little monkey wrench in here. The Ninja. The Ninja is the very first one I've had, a very first blender that I had that was like an actual real blender that did anything. Well, they've come up with a new Ninja. It is 1,000 watts. So the NutriBullet, which was kind of like the big one on the scene just, let's say, over the last year or so, this one actually has 100 more watts of power. Okay, so Vitamix, Blendtec, 1,500 or more watts of power. NutriBullet, 900 watts of power. This Ninja, it comes with 1,000 watts of power, so more than the NutriBullet. And I think one of the amazing things about the Ninja as well is that it comes with an enormous 72-ounce blender. So like that literally will be everything you need to be able to put in all of your liquids, all of those things. And keep in mind, one of the reasons I like the larger capacity is I like making smoothies for the whole family. Like sometimes I'll have people over for breakfast. I'll have family over. We'll have 14, 15 people, all sitting around just having a nice breakfast, especially holiday-wise. And if I do this, I can make 72 ounces of fluid, which if we divide that by 8, we get, 9 glasses of smoothie. And I think that's pretty incredible as well. Now, of course, probably not going to fill that to the brim. But so if I'm looking at it, where do I get the most value? Now, can you make as good of a smoothie bowl? No. Can you make as good of a nut flour? No. Can you make soups in the Ninja? No, not as great. Absolutely not, unless you're using boiling water, which we don't recommend. The Ninja for $74 for this 1,000 watt. If you're just looking at entry level, what's the best blender I can get? This is it. The Ninja Professional Blender, and it's BL610. I'm going to link it up in the show notes so you see exactly the one that I would recommend for you. Now remember, they make Ninjas at different prices as well. And all of them can be, absolutely fantastic. They really can. But this one right here, I think value-wise, giving you that huge blender, bigger than the NutriBullet, and even bigger than all the others, and 1,000 watts. I mean, that's going to get you in there. So that's my recommendation for entry level, is that Ninja Professional Blender. The Blendtec is going to do pretty much everything of the Vitamix for $100 less. But if you want the biggest, if you want the best, you want to be able to do absolutely everything, and that includes make your natural ice creams with a hand camper and make your smoothie bowls, your acai bowls, your flours, your soups, all of those things. Remember, with a soup, you don't have to cook it. The blender literally cooks it because it spins so fast. So hopefully you're as excited as I am about purchasing a new blender, even though I just did. And again, if you haven't downloaded the recipes, please do that. It's completely free. And again, this used to be part of a $49 package that I used to offer, and it is episode 270. So just StephenCabral.com/270. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and please do feel free to let me know if you have any additional questions or follow-ups. Looking forward tomorrow when I come back with the Cabral House Calls, and I'm answering all of your questions for the weekend. Take care. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to StephenCabral.com/rainbarrel.